Welcome. I'm excited to be here with you today. So this is my weekly Facebook Live, and right now we're in January. This month we've got the theme of self-care. So I'm going to be sharing about water today, and I'm excited to share with you one of what I think is one of the easiest and most effective accelerators of momentum and presence and awareness, which that leads to success. And so I'm really excited to be here to share with you today. But really quick, if you're new to the group, do me a favor. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Where are you on a scale of 1 to 5 when it comes to drinking water? 1 being you probably don't get enough water. You're probably dehydrated. You know it's an issue. 5, you have a process in place, a structure in place, like you are drinking water. You're taking care of yourself. You feel like you're fully hydrated. So give me a 1 to 5 in the chat and where you're from and what your business is. So please let us know. And whether you're watching live or replay, either way, that would be awesome. And this is your community. This Facebook group is a community where we want you to be here and participating and sharing. And with our company, what we do at Charfen is we help entrepreneurs grow and scale businesses. And we help with the process, structure, and routine it takes to grow and scale businesses. And the reason that I'm sharing with you about water today is we have a process called the 10-Day Natural Thirst Challenge. And it's 10 days of going through a very clear protocol to be able to change how you instinctively react to water. And the reason why this is so important for me to share with you, and the reason why I share this with entrepreneurs is if we can show you a process where in 10 days, you will be automatically, instinctively drinking more water, imagine what we can show you in your business to help you create momentum and put the right process, structure, and routine in place so that you're getting more done, so that your team knows exactly what's going on, so that you aren't doing everything yourself. That's why this is such a important topic for me. It's one of my favorite things to share with entrepreneurs, because here's why one of the things that is so important about water is it gives you leverage everywhere. If you're hydrated rather than dehydrated, I'm going to get into some more details in a little bit, but if you're hydrated rather than dehydrated, you will be better at everything. And I'll share more in just a second, but just real quick, some housekeeping items here in this group. Each week on Thursday, right around this time, I'm going to be sharing about self-care. And next week, I'm excited to share about meditation. And here's who I want to talk to next week is if you're the entrepreneur who's tried to meditate and feels like you can't, or you're frustrated by it or anxious by it, I can't wait to share with you, because I was that entrepreneur. And even if you're an experienced meditator, I've got a take on it that I think will probably be different and new. And so I'm excited to share it with you. And so with that, I want to jump into water. This like, why am I talking about drinking more water for entrepreneurs? Well, this goes back quite a ways for me. When I was a kid, I used to get headaches all the time. And I knew that if I drank more water, I wouldn't get headaches. So this equation with me and water started a long time ago. I used to drink a ton of water when I was a kid. And my mom would sometimes tell me to slow down. Even as an adult, I would chug a bottle of water and she would tell me to slow down. And so I was always very aware of my relationship to water. But I did the same thing a lot of people do. I would sit down at a desk, work all day, look up at 4 o'clock and realize that I hadn't had anything to drink. And what I realized was those were the days where I was anxious and irritated and frustrated at a much higher level than normal. And what I also realized in my 20s, that was the first introduction. So I started getting very in touch with drinking water, and I started building process around drinking water. So when I was younger, I had bottles of water and I would drink them and I would know that I had enough. And when I was in my 20s, I was a consultant, and I knew that if I went to a big account and say sat in the waiting room at BrandsMart in Florida, or at Tech Data or Office Depot or Walmart or any of those places, and I had somebody with me and they didn't drink water, things probably wouldn't go that well in the meeting we were about to have. So it was something I always thought about. So as a consultant, I used to have water in my car when factories were in town, when manufacturers, factories, my clients were in town. I would make sure that I had water there. And if we were in a waiting room for a while, I would make sure they were drinking water. And so this has been something that I've thought about from my very early career. And then I took a crazy deep dive on water. And part of it is due to the book. It's a book that shows the pictures of water crystals. It's by Emoto, and I think it's called, I'm going to grab it before the end of the live. But I started doing a really deep dive on water. And how water affects the body, how the science behind water, the energy, like water actually retains energy. When you look at the human body, people will tell you we're of 60 to 70% water, but if you look at the actual molecules and the atoms in our body, we're like 90% water. And so water is everywhere. It's such an important part of being in human existence. You can oxygen, you can go a few minutes without. Water, you can go a few days without. It's like the second most needed thing in the body for all your systems to work besides oxygen. And when for human beings, with water, every system in our entire body, yes, the hidden messages in water. Thank you. every system in our entire body. That's the book I was talking about, The Hidden Messages in Water. They took pictures of water crystals that had been exposed to words, had been exposed to energy. And when they were exposed to positive energy, the water was frozen and it created perfect water crystals. And when it was exposed to negative energy, they wouldn't form crystals or have a hard time with it. Like, that was where I realized that there's like a spiritual connection for us to water and to being hydrated and to taking care of ourselves. And, so when you what I want to share with you about water today is really three things. One, how you understand if you have a water issue, if you have a hydration issue, because a lot of people don't understand whether they do or not. I want you to understand what dehydration is probably causing in your life, and it may be shocking for you because a lot of people don't understand just how vast and how massively water affects us. And then I also want you to know why, as an entrepreneur, you're actually predisposed to exist in dehydration. Like, as entrepreneurs, this is something we have to be really, really careful about, because we will push ourselves into dehydration more than the average human being. And I want to explain to you why. So first, let's talk about how you identify if you have a water issue. So I just mentioned this before. Every system in the body needs water in order to function properly. I think that's just such an important part of the science behind water, because what we don't understand, what doctors don't ask about, what isn't part of the discussion when it comes to health and wellness is how much water are you drinking? Because water is the single most important element you can add to your body in order to detox in your body. Water is the vehicle for detox. Period. When you stop drinking water, your body actually stops detoxing and starts becoming more toxic. The more dehydrated you are, you could argue, the more toxicity your body's hanging on to. And it's crazy. In fact, it's counterintuitive, but the more dehydrated you are, the more your body will have inflammation, the more swelling you have. If you feel like you have inflammation in your body, it could be due to water. See, when the body doesn't get enough, it starts to hold on to it. And that's just where it starts. When you look at what water actually does, when you look at the symptoms behind the top 20 prescription drugs in the United States, most of them, you could argue, they treat the symptoms of diseases and challenges and issues for sure, but also the symptoms of dehydration. Dehydration causes pain and inflammation and stomach issues, digestion challenges, headaches, issues with cognitive issues, depression, frustration, anxiety. All of those things can be caused by dehydration. I've actually worked with people who have taken the 10-day natural thirst challenge and have either reduced or gotten off of psychopharmaceutical drugs, where they were either on anxiety medications or antidepressants. So the healing power of water is incredible, and there is so much that it affects. So this is what dehydrate, and I just talked about it a little bit. Like, this is how you identify if you have a water issue. If you feel tired in the afternoon, if your lips are chapped, if you have skin issues or conditions, if you're itching, if you have chronic issues like any type of chronic digestive issue, any type of chronic, really, it can be argued almost every chronic issue could be improved by hydration. What do you have to lose? You're going to get really hydrated, feel better, think more clearly, be more aware. You're not going to cause damage by drinking water if you follow your natural thirst instinct. Now, I don't talk about the 10-day natural thirst challenge is not a water drinking contest. It is a protocol to help you wake up your natural thirst, because all of these symptoms that dehydration is causing, also dehydration can cause things like procrastination and anxiety in what you're doing in your work or business. Also, dehydration severely affects our brain function. So if you are lacking confidence or clarity or commitment in your business, it could be that you are dehydrated, and that is causing disassociation or frustration or anxiety to make it so those things are showing up in your business. And as an entrepreneur, I said this earlier, I want you to understand why as an entrepreneur, you are predisposed to live in dehydration. So when you look at the instinct to breathe, it is a very dramatic human instinct. And here's what I mean by that. If I was to have someone choke me right now, within a very short period of time, you would see physiologically that I'm going through a massive struggle trying to get air. And the instinct to breathe is telling me that I need to struggle, and I would probably start kicking and screaming and pushing the person off of me. And so that is a very strong instinct we have. Now, here's the challenge with the thirst instinct. It is a very subtle instinct. If you're like me, you've probably had more than one time where you've thought, oh man, I'm thirsty, I need to grab a glass of water, and then continued working for the next hour or two without grabbing that glass of water. Here's why. The body is meant to survive. The human organism is made to survive, to help us survive. And if our body was constantly pinging us and saying, hey, you're thirsty, you're thirsty, you're thirsty, with the same intensity of the breathing instinct, when we were dehydrated, we would have a really hard time focusing on anything. And so what our body does, it sends the signal and says you're thirsty. And if you don't drink, evolutionarily, our bodies think there must not be any water around here. So it turns off that thirst instinct. Now, it might do it again in a while. And if you ignore it again, you might start detuning that natural instinct you have to drink water. In fact, if you're somebody who doesn't drink a lot of water, doesn't like the taste of water, the worst one is if you get sick when you drink water, those are all symptoms, not preferences. Those are symptoms of chronic dehydration. And if you're in a place where you're chronically dehydrated, it's affecting everything in your body, and it's massively affecting your mind and your ability to think and your ability to create and your ability to do what we do as entrepreneurs. As entrepreneurs, we're that small percentage of the population that travels into the future, creates a new reality, comes back to the present, and demands that becomes real. That is a serious cognitive journey. That takes massive brain power. And if you're dehydrated, you are doing it handicapped. And so the ability to drink water is massively important for us, because here's what happens to all of us. If we don't have our natural instinct to drink water in tune and kicking and firing, we will find ourselves dehydrated almost all the time. Unless we build some structure around drinking water, we will find ourselves dehydrated. And dehydration, like I've now said, is so challenging. And here's how I know just how much dehydration can cause, because we've had people, lots, both members and people who worked in our company, go through the 10-day natural thirst challenge and have crazy results. We had a office manager. Her name was Kim, and Kim was an amazing human being, and she came in and like helped us organize all kinds of stuff and did a ton. And she also was very overweight and diabetic. And when she started working with us, she came to me and asked for help. Like, what can I do? And I said, the first thing I start everybody on is this natural thirst challenge. Why don't you check out and go and do the 10-day challenge? And she did. And she continued drinking water and didn't really come back to me for help, but started losing a ton of weight. And then I asked her about the weight loss and said, Kim, what are you doing? This, you look fantastic. And she said, I just kept doing the drinking water thing. I haven't stopped. I'm drinking water every day. I'm doing the 10-day challenge. And I said, have you like changed your diet or anything? And she said, well, it's changed how I think about eating food. So I don't think I'm hungry as much. And at night, I don't eat as much. And so just adding more water into her diet, she instinctively started drinking more and then started losing weight. And then the second part, which was amazing, is she went from 4 vials of insulin to less than 1/2 of 1 vial of insulin per month. And so the way I look at that is dehydration was causing all of those issues, was causing her to overeat, was causing her to gain weight, was causing her to need way too much insulin, which means she had blood sugar issues. And so all of that was caused by dehydration, because by adding water, it was canceled out. And so even if you're healthy, even if you're in great shape, this is one of those disciplines that will change your life. And here's what I want you to do. So we set up a link to go straight to the 10-day challenge. It's naturalthirstnow.com. And this challenge is completely free. And I want to make it clear again, this is not a drinking contest. There is, here's what's going to happen if you take the 10-day natural thirst challenge. If you go to Natural Thirst Now, you're going to follow a protocol to wake up your natural thirst instinct. We are going to use the instinct your body already has to help you behave in a different way, the same way we help entrepreneurs grow and scale businesses through behavioral change. And what I want you to know is people around you might start telling you you're drinking way too much water. And they're going to tell you that it's crazy how much water you're drinking, because when you go through this protocol, your body wakes up the natural thirst instinct. And when you pay attention to it, you're going to realize how much water your body needs. Now, it does taper off after like anywhere from 10 to 30 days. It'll drop off a little bit, but you're going to drink more water than you ever thought possible if you follow the process. And people around you will tell you that's dangerous. People have died from that. Look it up. It's called hyponatremia. It's where the amount of salt in your blood lowers to the point where it becomes dangerous. And you actually, it's very rare unless you're doing extreme physical activity or drinking water in a very weird way. Like there has been a person who passed away from it because they forced themselves to drink water in a water drinking contest where you didn't go to the restroom. And so those incidents get quoted as a reason not to drink a lot of water. And here's the reality. If you're following your natural thirst instinct and your body is telling you to drink, and when you drink, you feel better, being hydrated is going to change your entire life. So take a minute right now, go to naturalthirstnow.com. And here's what I would love for you to do. If you sign up, come back to this group and tell us you signed up. Let's get some leverage. Let's build a community here. Like tell us you signed up and why you're doing it. And let us give you some support, and take a picture of yourself drinking water. Like let us know you're taking this challenge, and then as you go through this challenge, like let us know in the group how it feels. And if you have any questions on any of the days, let me know, because things can get kind of tricky. You'll see in the videos, if you go to Natural Thirst Now, that there might be a couple of days where things get challenging. Here's what I want you to know. We can do hard things. You can make it through a couple challenging days of a thirst challenge. And when you do, you're going to feel way better. And the discipline of doing this for 10 days, here's what's going to shock you. Being hydrated is going to help you a ton, but the discipline of going through a process like this is going to make everything in your life easier. So I'm excited for you to take this challenge. Go to naturalthirstnow.com. Don't forget to come back next week. So I'm going to be sharing on meditation. So make sure you come back in the next day or two. That'll be posted. You can just hit the button to register and we'll remind you when I go live. And don't forget, we post a poll or a question and answer in here in the group every week. So make sure you check that out and go to Natural Thirst Now. Let me know what you think of the 10-day Natural Thirst Challenge. And if you have entrepreneurial friends, invite them to this group. We're trying to build a community here, and we'd love to have the people you know that you think would match our culture. Thanks for being here. I look forward to seeing you next week.